Have you ever wondered why you always spot faces in random objects, or why you crave food but can never decide what to eat? Our brains are wired in fascinating ways, and psychology reveals the secrets behind these behaviors. Yes, there's so much happening in your mind and heart that you might not even realize. Psychology is truly mind-blowing. It explains the quirks, habits, and feelings that make us who we are. In this video, we're dropping some amazing psychology facts about human behavior that will change the way you see yourself and others. Let's dive in. Number 1 is forming habits. Do you know that it takes an average of 66 days for a behavior to become a habit? Yeah, you heard me right. That is over 2 months of grinding it out before something becomes second nature. Think about hitting the gym, learning a new skill, or even just drinking more water daily. If you think you can just do it for a week and be set, you are fooling yourself. Habits need time to marinate and stick. So if you are serious about making a change, buckle up and commit for the long haul. Next up, false memories. Your brain is like a creative storyteller, but not always a truthful one. Every time you recall a memory, your brain can alter it, influenced by your current emotions, biases, and external suggestions. This is why eyewitness testimonies can be so unreliable, and why siblings often remember the same event differently. According to the studies, memories can be distorted or even entirely fabricated. For example, psychologists have successfully implanted false memories in study participants by suggesting events that never happened. Your brain fills in gaps sometimes by adding details that fit your current beliefs or emotions. This means your cherished childhood memories or that perfect vacation might not be as accurate as you think. Third one is the power of hugs. A hug longer than 20 seconds releases hormones that make you trust the person you are hugging. Yep, just 20 seconds of wrapping someone in your arms can turn them from a stranger to someone you feel you can trust. It is like your body's own little magic trick. Next time you're feeling down or anxious, find someone you trust and give them a good, long hug. It is not just feel-good advice, it is science. Moving on, let's talk about the multitasking myth. You might think you are a multitasking pro, juggling emails, texts, and work all at once. But hear me out. Our brains are not built for multitasking. When you think you are multitasking, you are actually just switching between tasks really fast. This constant switching eats up your brain power and makes you less efficient and more prone to mistakes. Research shows that multitasking can reduce productivity by up to 40% and increase the chances of errors. For example, you are trying to text while driving. It is dangerous because your brain can't focus on both tasks at the same time. The same goes for simpler tasks, like trying to work on a project while checking social media means you are not giving your full attention to either. So stop trying to do it all at once. Focus on one thing at a time and do it well. Your brain will thank you. Next up, Pareidolia. Pareidolia sounds fancy, right? But it is actually super simple. Ever seen a face in the clouds or thought your car's front looks like it is smiling? That is pareidolia in action. Our brains are wired to recognize faces, a survival mechanism from way back when spotting a friendly or threatening face quickly was crucial. This tendency to see faces in inanimate objects is so strong that we do it without thinking. Even babies do this. They are drawn to objects that look like faces. It is a core part of how we perceive the world. This explains why you find a smiling face in your morning toast or see faces in the patterns on the wall. Your brain would rather find a face where there isn't one than miss a real one. Now let's get into how color affects your appetite. Believe it or not, the colors around you can influence how hungry you feel. Blue, for instance, is known to suppress appetite. There's a reason why you don't see many fast food restaurants decked out in blue. This color tends to make food look less appealing and can even reduce how much you eat. On the flip side, colors like red and yellow are known to stimulate appetite. That is why so many fast food chains use these colors in their logos and decor. They catch your eye and make you feel hungrier. It is a clever trick to get you to order more. So if you are trying to eat less, maybe swap out your red plates for blue ones. It is a small change that can make a big difference. At number 7, we have emotional versus physical pain. Believe it or not, your brain processes emotional pain almost the same way it processes physical pain. Heartbreak, rejection, and loss aren't just in your head, they hit your brain like a physical injury. Studies using brain scans have shown that social pain activates the same brain regions as physical pain, such as the anterior cingulate cortex and the insula. Think about that gut-wrenching feeling after a breakup isn't just a metaphor. It is your brain lighting up in the same areas that respond to physical hurt. This explains why emotional distress can feel so overwhelming and why social support can be such a powerful healer. So whenever you hear someone say they are heartbroken, remember, their pain is as real as a physical wound. Moving on, dopamine in music. Do you ever crank up your favorite song and get those chills down your spine? That means dopamine is doing its thing. Music hits your brain's pleasure center hard by releasing dopamine, the same feel-good chemical you get from delicious food or, yep, even some drugs. When the beat drops or that perfect riff plays, your brain lights up like a Christmas tree, especially in areas loaded with dopamine receptors like the striatum. It is how your brain reacts to those sounds and makes you feel on top of the world. So, whenever you vibe to your favorite track, remember it is your brain getting a dopamine boost. Next, trust from assembly. You know that feeling when you build something from scratch, like an Ikea bookshelf, and suddenly it is your favorite piece of furniture. Let's call that the Ikea effect. When you put in the effort to create something, you value it way more. It is like your brain's way of saying, hey, I made this, it is awesome. This doesn't just apply to furniture. Cook a meal from scratch instead of ordering takeout, and it will taste 10 times better. Put effort into a project or a relationship, and you will appreciate and trust it more. It is all about the emotional attachment you build through your hard work. Next, let's tackle overthinking. Overthinking is like a mental black hole. Once you start, it is hard to escape. Your brain gets stuck in a loop, endlessly analyzing every detail and potential outcome, and leads to increased stress and anxiety. This habit of overanalyzing can paralyze your decision-making process and affect your mental health. You know, overthinking can actually change your brain's structure and makes you more prone to anxiety and depression. It creates a cycle where worrying about problems that don't exist leads to real emotional distress. The key to breaking free is mindfulness, cognitive behavioral techniques, and simply focusing on the present. Now let's talk about the importance of siblings. Growing up with siblings can significantly shape your social skills and emotional well-being. Siblings are our first friends and rivals who teach us crucial lessons. People with strong sibling relationships tend to have better social skills and emotional intelligence. Having siblings can also provide a support system that lasts a lifetime. They share your history and understand your family dynamics in a way that friends or partners do not. Positive sibling relationships can contribute to lower levels of depression and anxiety in adulthood. Alright, next up, let's break down how testing improves memory. You may think that studying hard is the key to remembering things, but actually testing yourself on the material helps your memory way more. When you test yourself, it forces your brain to retrieve information, which strengthens your memory and makes it easier to recall later. This is known as the testing effect. Say, for example, you are prepping for an exam. Simply rereading your notes won't cut it. Instead, quizzing yourself or taking practice tests engages your brain in active recall, significantly boosting your retention. Studies have shown that students who frequently test themselves retain information longer and perform better on exams compared to those who just review their notes. So, next time you study, ditch the passive review and challenge yourself with some tough questions. Next, let's talk about choice overload. You know the deal. You walk into a store and bam! There are a million options staring back at you, and suddenly you are stuck. That is choice overload. When you have got too many options and making a decision turns into a total nightmare. It doesn't just make you indecisive. It cranks up your anxiety and stress levels. It leads to what is called decision fatigue. Suppose you are standing in front of a shelf with 24 different kinds of jam. Studies show that when faced with too many choices, people usually walk away without choosing anything. But give them just 6 options, and they are more likely to pick one and feel good about it. So whenever you find yourself drowning in choices, cut it down. Simplify. Less is more, folks. Trust me, your brain will thank you for it. Next up, loneliness and health. Feeling lonely? It is not just in your head. It is a full-on assault on your body. Chronic loneliness is a silent killer that leads to heart disease, a weakened immune system, and even shaving years off your life. It is like your body goes haywire by cranking up inflammation and stress hormones. Loneliness triggers real and nasty health problems. Being socially isolated can ramp up your chances of anxiety and depression, and even mess with your brain, leading to cognitive decline. It is hardcore. So what is the fix? Keep those social connections alive. Hang out with friends. Spend time with family. Join a club or community group. Whatever keeps you connected. Staying in touch with others isn't just good for your mood, but also crucial for your health, both mental and physical. Don't let loneliness take a toll on you. Lastly, guilt and empathy. Feeling guilty is an annoying emotion that actually does a lot of good. Yep, that is right. When you feel guilty, it is a sign you know your actions affect others. This self-awareness is the foundation of empathy because it helps you tune into and understand other people's feelings. People who feel guilty are usually better at reading emotions and are more likely to help others out. Guilt, while uncomfortable, pushes you to be more compassionate and understanding. It is like a moral compass that keeps you aligned with social norms and makes you more empathetic. Remember, when you are feeling guilty, it is not just a downer, it is making you more empathetic and socially aware. If you found this video interesting, I would appreciate you showing support by hitting that like button below. Feel free to leave any questions or thoughts in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.